you have a quick story, and we're planning some Q&A right after this. Here we go.
Awesome. Thank you much. Hi, everyone. I was a guy who liked beer a little too much, and it made me thirstier. And at the age of 21, my parents thought it'd be a good idea for me not to drink beer anymore, and I have, with the grace of God, not found it necessary to drink since that age. I'm now 30 years sober, and thank you. It's like being a Bronco buster with hemorrhoids, right? I'll take all the credit. So I've worked in the treatment field for the last 10 years, and we're really good at the first 30 or 90 days, but not so good later in that treatment field. And I have children, and I have a now 18-year-old and 22-year-old. And my kids, about 2 years ago, started having some issues, and their friends were having issues. And I've worked in this field so long that I know the statistics. The statistics are our current generation is 6 times more likely to die of a drug overdose than the previous generation. There was 100 billion pain pills sold in a 9-year period from 2006 to 2014. So they were greatly over-medicated. Then we had an issue of they couldn't buy them anymore, and we had heroin coming in from Afghanistan, and then we had it coming in from Mexico, and now we have this fentanyl, which is 10 times stronger, coming in from China. So they are given fake Xanax, and they're dying on the spot. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I'm looking at these charts, and it's during my sobriety and also during the time that I was working in the treatment field. So I had that moment where my daughter texted me from Red Rock saying, "Hey, I want to take an Uber home. All my friends are on ecstasy." And I thought, my kid's going to die. And somebody needs to do something. And I'm not the guy to start a nonprofit. But I said, screw it, let's start a nonprofit. We'll call it Sober AF Entertainment, and we'll start throwing sober safe zones and showing kids how to have fun sober. I've been doing it for 30 years. I was big into the Grateful Dead. There was a sober support group there, and it made sobriety cool. And I realized if you can push through the first 10 minutes, then it's not so bad. But there's a little awkwardness to sobriety. So we started doing this 20 months ago, and we were doing it at different music events, and then we did it at a Rockies game. And we sold 190 tickets in about 6 days. And that's when we realized, like, this might be a thing. We know it's needed, but how do we make a want? And to me, it's kind of like a no smoking section 30 years ago, right? It's such a crazy idea, right? But how many times have you been to an event? I mean, I was at a Miami Hurricanes football game 2 years ago, and a guy threw up in our section, ruined it for everybody. As a guy who has a 22-year-old daughter, I understand, there is a roofie date rape culture out there that women don't feel safe. And no one's doing anything about it, it feels like. So we started this, and this year we did a sober college game day tour where we went to every major college football game. And shockingly, we have no competition, right? There is nobody out there doing this. But people love the idea, and we're kind of in the process of pivoting around to figure out what is the want? What does it need to look like? So sporting events are easy. The Nuggets, Avs, Rockies, we've done 60 events in 18 months. We've worked with every major sporting team in Colorado as far as the major teams except for the Broncos. They told me they couldn't give us any half-off tickets. They have a waiting list of 65,000 people. And I don't know if I really trust our community right now at a Broncos game, if you've been to a Broncos game in a while, right? Secondly, we're probably needed at the college level. So we've really been going, if you go to a college football game, it's typically beer pong, right? That's the culture these kids have, even though half of them are under the age of 21. And if you go to any type of music festival or music event, it's kind of this ecstasy culture. So we're going where we're wanted and where we're needed right now. So, how am I doing on time? 1 minute, okay. So where are we going from here? We need help with promotion, promoters. We really haven't cracked the code on the music scene yet. We have had a lot of luck with music festivals. There's 850 music festivals in the United States. New Year's Eve, we had 200 kids at the Colorado Avalanche sitting together. So 200, I say kids, we have no age requirements, we have no sobriety requirements, besides that we ask that you show up sober and you're sober during the event and you don't smell like marijuana. But we're really all-inclusive in that aspect. Anyways, we had 200 kids at the Avs. They gave us a boardroom for a sober tailgate beforehand, and then we walked across the street and we did a sober tailgate at Decadence, which was a big music festival, and we had a kid from Fort Collins come down and said, I heard about you guys. I came down with 2 other kids. We all made this pledge we weren't going to use, and the 2 other kids are using, and if I couldn't find you, I was going to use. So that's what we do.